And in reality, we could go back and reconstruct the ancestral pathogen if we wanted to. Now, somebody, Santiago Ron mentioned earlier in the meeting that, this is the guy who doesn't get any respect. Now, this is Alfred Russel Wallace, and of course he was, in fact, developing the theory of evolution and natural selection, really in a very contemporaneous fashion with Charles Darwin. You've probably heard this story about how he sent this letter to Darwin saying, hey, I've come up with this great idea, what do you think of it? Darwin's going, whoa, that's my idea. And so it actually pushed Darwin into publishing The Origin of Species much more quickly than he would have. But one place where Alfred Russel Wallace absolutely deserves credit is he is the father of biogeography. And what we've done is now using Burkholderia pseudomallei. And so what he did was he actually characterized the fauna and flora across this part of Southeast Asia. And he found this thing called the Wallace line. And so the fauna and flora on this side is dramatically different from this side. We now know that, in fact, there are deep trenches along here, so that in the Pleistocene, when there was lower sea level, much of these areas had land bridges connecting them, and likewise south of the line. But there was still a water separation along here, and so that inhibited movement of fauna and flora across this line. And so we ended up with these distinct types that he recognized, and hence this is called the Wallace line. But what we're able to do is in Burkholderia pseudomallei, we can actually see from the diversity of these organisms. Remember that the out of Australia idea is that the diverse paraphyletic lineages are down here, and that it's hopped across here and moved out into the rest of the world, including Ecuador. So this would certainly be the first bacterial species that's ever conformed to the Wallace line. The molecular clock estimates are always a bunch of hand-waving, but they do fit into the Pleistocene. What can I say? Okay, so now plague. So in plague, there have traditionally been three different pandemics. There was a Justinian plague in the 6th, 7th, and 8th centuries, spread across the Mediterranean. There was a second pandemic, which is associated with the Black Death, which would have been the 14th, 15th, 16th, and maybe 17th and 18th century. It was pretty broadly defined. In the case of the Justinian plague, population losses in the Mediterranean were as high as 50 or 60%, and doubtlessly changed the course of the Holy Roman Empire, moving the capitals between Eastern Empire and the Western. Likewise, during the Middle Ages, popes got up and left the Vatican and moved to Provence to try to avoid dying of the plague. It didn't work. Several of the popes died of plague in southern France as well. So these are really classical ones. And then the one that we really know a lot about, which started in 1855,